All right, welcome back, everybody, and anybody that's new joining me here today. Obviously, if you guys seen the title, thumbnail, all the fun stuff, we're gonna talk a little bit about some lures for this guy. You could probably use them for that guy too, which he looks so tiny. If I put my hand back there, some people have asked me. They think he's tiny, but he's not. That's a big perch. It just looks small next to my 28-inch, 8-pound walleye. So, I digress. Let's get started. All right, welcome back, everybody. Today's going to be a pretty short. Sorry, making a bunch of noise. Apparently, made my desk very dirty. One of the things I want to talk about is a couple of new lures that I want to try out this year that I'm sure some of you guys have heard about. And actually, I believe I talked about. I think I talked about. If you've been around and you've seen this video, where I talk about what these guys are, comment below what's in this box right now. I want to see how many of you guys are paying attention. I think it was a Tackle Tip Tuesday video, actually. But one of the main things I want to talk about today is this guy right here, the Slab wrap. Not just the fact that it's a slab wrap, because if you guys paused it, and if you didn't pause it, comment below what's in that box. Pause it right now. Okay, so if you paused it and you actually commented below and got it right, so that's my perch pattern, and I have a bunch of other patterns of slab wraps in here. But I also have, where is that thing? I think that's it right there. Yep. Okay, so this is a rippin' wrap, like RIPPIN and then wrap. So like a jigging wrap. This is a slab wrap. And I haven't taken it out of the package yet because I just got it, because I just seen it, and I think this is a new color this year. I have a bunch of different slab wraps. I don't have this one. The reason for this purchase, and I want to let you guys know if you're interested in getting them, I do link this stuff below. It does help the channel. Obviously, if it helps the channel, I bring you more information. That's pretty simple how it works. But if you guys want, I link everything that I use all year below, and if I'm talking about something, it's linked in the description. It's pretty simple. But the thing that I'm trying to get across to you guys is, so I have a bunch of different sizes of this. I've already done a Tackle Tip Tuesday on them. I'm not going to go into detail on why I use these, but one of the things is this has rattles, and let me open this real quick. This does not. So you might ask, like, why wouldn't I just use a jigging wrap? And this is going to be one of those things where it's just kind of one of those things. Like, you won't understand it till you get out walleye fishing. When you're chasing these guys, you have to have options. So let's go with this size, and this size. So I think I have one more size in between here. I'll show you guys. Okay, so as you can see, this is the new slab wrap that I picked up. That's the rippin' wrap that I already have. So they're the same color pattern. This guy seems like he's got a little bit more of that chartreuse yellow on his head, yellow-green on his head. That's fine. My main concern here, and you'll see in the pattern, is I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different sizes of jigging wraps of these. This guy kind of falls right there in between those two. Now, the big thing here is some days, and this is just a simple explanation because I don't want to go into too much detail as far as this goes. If you want to see that walleye, how to do that stuff, I talk about it in my Tackle Tip Tuesday about how to catch walleye and, like, my top 5 walleye lures. These are one of them, or actually I think this is 3 of them. Okay, so yeah, these types are 3 of the top 5 I believe I listed. But this is one of my go-to colors. So walleye are a low light feeding animal, well, fish. And that's just one of the reasons. So these obviously are all glows. You can see that one's been beat up a bunch because he's been eaten a bunch. This one's done well. And I forgot, I think that's a 5, a 4, a 3, and a 2. I think those are the sizes. This is a 4, if you're wondering, for rip and wrap. I believe this is a 3 for jig, right? What is that? It says right on the bottom of it. No, that's a 4. So that's a slab wrap, and it's a 4, number 4. So these are both number 4s. So realistically, yep, they're about the same size. But as I showed you, this guy rattles, this guy doesn't. This guy's got a very hard shimmy and shake because of the way that lipless design is on there, kind of like a lipless crank you would fish for bass. Oddly enough, this shape works great for walleye, and I've been finding out more and more that, so it's this simple. This is why I'm trying this out this season, and this is why I'm showing you guys. These all tend to work when the walleye are willing to chase something that will, well, let me show you in. Okay, so I'm gonna try and demonstrate this just so you guys get an understanding of why I picked this bait up. And it's one of those things, like, everybody walks into a store kind of aimlessly and they go, well, that looks good, and then they buy it. I have a completely different mentality. I look at everything and anything that I might not have or have used or bought or whatever, and I try to depict if there's going to be enough of a difference for something from something else that I've used to give me a different option when I'm on stubborn fish. The big thing is it's this simple. Don't ever let anybody lie to you guys. If you're on fish that will bite anything, the saying goes without. They're going to bite anything. So you can bring out whatever lure you want, and that fish is going to eat it. If they're feeding, it's a high feed window, and they're aggressive fish, and they're non-pressured, probably could drop a rock down with some hooks on it, bounce it around, and catch them. But on a pressured fish, or one that is being stubborn because, say a front just moved through, because some fish will still get affected in the wintertime by that. Obviously, this is all ice fishing based. So think this way. This is that number 5. And with these, when you jig them, like up, they shoot forward. And when you let them fall, they do this big, huge circle around. So if you do like a 4-foot rip and then let it fall down, it does a huge circle around. You can kind of get a rhythm going in with these things, and they will literally do this in a big, giant circle. I've sat there and sight fished walleye, crappie, and perch with these, and when they're aggressive, you'll see the fish. They'll literally swim up and down with it until they get to the point where they see it go up, and they're aimed at it sometimes, and then the minute it falls like a dead minnow, they slam it. And that is why these will always work. A jigging wrap will always work. Now, the big thing here is sometimes that big aggressive motion is too much for them. So, in comes the rip and wrap. Now, this is kind of a 2-in-1 thing. So sometimes I'll have the jigging wrap and the rip and wrap tied on 2 rods, and I'll actually drop this first, so when you rip this thing up, it does the same thing in a much smaller pattern, like it falls at a side, and then when you rip it up, it actually vibrates up as you're bringing it through the water column. You can actually feel it in your rod tip. The trick here is not to do that all the time, because if there's a fish just outside your sonar angle, or you can't see where they're coming from, or you don't know how they're reacting, if it rattles like that, you can scare them away. Now, I have called fish in with these before, and they will come in, follow it up, follow it down. You can move it lightly, you can move it aggressively, you can dart it, you can wiggle it, do everything under the sun, and they do not want to go near this thing too close. And the only thing I can think of is every time it moves is the rattle. So that's why I invested in my slab wraps. Out comes this. Now we have a duplicate color pattern that I know works. It works. So dirty water, low light colors, or low light conditions, or like dirty water, clear water, low light conditions, dirty water, high skies. So like if you're on a body of water that's really dirty or stained, on a bright sunny day, these work really good because what it does is it will still glow it up underwater. So you'll still get that bright effect, and it gives it a little bit more of a, what do you call that, a silhouette or whatever. And it allows the fish to see it a little bit better. But this, when you jig it up and down, will rock if you do it lightly. You can do that with the jigging wrap too, or the ripping wrap. I think you can do it with all of them, but this one will dart a little bit, but it won't dart as aggressively as the jigging wrap does, this one. So the thing is this is like an in-between of everything, and the only thing I was missing out of all of these was this color in the jigging wrap, or the slab wrap. That's what this thing's called. I always forget. So that is my number one thing that I'm going to be trying this season. I'm going to talk to you guys. If you can do me a really big favor, if you see me using this in one video and I don't talk about it, I'm trying. I'm really trying. I want to talk and I want to do this. I kind of want to work through the process of what I'm doing in order for you guys to go through the same process on your end. So when you go out, you know how to kind of break down what you are doing with this and why it's not working, and then maybe why you should go to the aggressive one, or maybe you should downsize to the smaller, jigging wrap because they don't want to hit this, but they're still chasing. There's different scenarios for everything, and you have to remember this. That fish right there didn't get that big being stupid. You have to be smarter than that, and it's not an easy thing. So many people think it's just like, I'll rip it and they come and they eat it. I've had some very, very big fish come in and snub me, and it's hence why I bought the slab wrap. But that's the gist of the walleye talk I want to get into. The next thing is actually bluegill talk, and I didn't mention that at the beginning of this, but it is one of my main subjects. I love chasing giant bluegills. If you guys have been around for a while, I have a whole playlist based around big bluegill tips, tricks, and videos, I think is what it's called, or something like that. It just says big bluegill at the beginning, and then there's another one for just like bluegill or whatever, basic like bluegill fishing and all that stuff. If you guys need to learn anything about that, go into my playlist section and look at either one of those playlists. You'll probably learn more about bluegill fishing than anybody needs to. But if you want some extra info, check those out. But let's look at these jigs. I'm very excited to try these out. These guys are the new Wolfinkee, I guess you call it. And obviously you can see glow, and this is the magic thing right here. They're tungsten now. And if you look right here, I have been using Wolfinkees for a very long time, and obviously you see my favorite color. But the big thing is so normally when I use tungsten, I'm using teardrop style jigs, and or the body shape ones, and it all just depends on if I'm using plastics or whatever. But I mean, for the most part, if you're using these kinds of jigs, which are the Wolfinkees, you use them for like a very sensitive bite or like a super negative bite, something that fish are just struggling to keep bait in their mouths or whatever. This is like a big profile, which you normally do something like that for a crappie or really big bluegill if they're aggressive. If they're not aggressive, you got to go substantially smaller, which these, you can see them next to my finger. Those are tiny. I went with the smallest that I could find of these, and you can see they're both glow, and then the one's pink and the one's chartreuse glow. And the big thing here is obviously you can see those are my color patterns. Let me look at these a little closer. I haven't actually pulled these out yet. Okay, so the first one I'm gonna go over with you guys, and I'm gonna try and show you this. I'm trying to think if I could put a background behind this thing that you could actually see it against, because this is gonna be really hard. I mean, I can use my finger and see if we can get it to focus. Focus right there. Yeah. See if I hold it. Well, you can kind of see it if I hold the end of it, probably. right about there. They call this one, if you can see, it's kind of a multicolored. It's got a little glitter on it, red dot eyes. I would say a chartreuse with actual green, and then you have your green glow body to it. And this is exactly the same size as my smaller. I think these are a number 14. It's one of my favorite sizes for bluegills because it is a finicky size. But the biggest thing was the drop rate on some of those other ones are so light that if I use my 4-pound test, which I like to swear by just so I don't lose a bunch of jigs, and I've actually snapped off 2 and 1 pound tests so many times on just trophy gills. And it probably is because it's a thinner, more finesse bite when you're fishing for a really, really big bluegill. And they don't like to bite 4-pound test. They can see it or whatever. They can sense it. I don't know what it is. But the big thing here is this can drop a little bit faster with a little bit heavier line, being that it's tungsten and not an lead. Not lead. But yeah, this one is called Lemonade Glow. I'm going to try to find these for you guys. If I can't, obviously it's just custom jigs and spins. Lakeside Bait and Tackle might get these in because they do carry custom jigs and spin stuff. So if you're in the area, was it Delavan, Wisconsin area, there's a place, it's a bait shop, Lakeside Bait and Tackle. He's my main go-to guy. I go to him for pretty much everything. As far as ice fishing stuff is concerned, he's probably going to have these because he has everything. That's not even an exaggeration. At one point, I suggested he carry a few more things, and then he transformed his whole store into just like a million ice fishing things. I think he likes ice fishing just as much as we do. But yeah, Lemonade Glow. Okay, this is a size 10, it says. Wolfinkee 10. So that's what this is. If you're looking for this exact same one, it's the Wolfinkee 10 Lemonade Glow. I think this one's going to do really well for some of those weed gills that like to eat bugs. It tends to be a really good color pattern, and then glow for low light and all that stuff. I know some crappies spots that like the chartreuse, but mainly that's what I got this other one for. Okay, we're going to try this. Let's see how that comes up. So that was the one. That's the Wolfinkee Lemonade Glow. You can kind of see, like I said, it's kind of more of like a green head with chartreuse base, but it is a glow. And then this is a pink eye glow, and it's another 10, number 10. But you can kind of see, this is the reason I like running these, is so if you run a plastic, if they have this wedged tail like that versus just a blunt tip to it, you can stick the plastic over that, and it kind of holds it in place. So you can actually run just like a little tail off of these. Or if you run like a full-bodied plastic, kind of like that thing, you can stick that body over the top of this, and it'll hold it in place really well. I've always just run these types of things because, one, I've always caught fish, but two, you can run all those different plastics and stuff on them. But from what I see of this head on here, it looks like it's got a great color pattern for big bluegills. And I mean, crappies love this color pattern too, so I'm going to try to give you guys some shade there. But as far as this one goes, I think that's going to be a money jig. And obviously, like I said, these are tungsten, not just lead. So I'm interested in seeing how the fall rate changes from running just a regular lead ratfinky. I might actually tie one of those on one rod and then cross-reference it with this one just to see on like I can watch it on my flasher. I can actually watch how fast they fall. If you guys want to see that, comment below that you guys want to see me do like a head-to-head test. So one where I'm actually putting this on one rod and then this on another one, and then dropping, I could even drop them simultaneously down the same hole, just open the bail and see, and see how fast they drop. But I have a feeling this isn't going to drop dramatically faster than one of these, than a size 10 of one of these, but I do think it's going to drop faster, and that little bit of a speed drop with this size might make the biggest of differences, because normally when you run something this small, it falls super slow, or you have to run one of these guys, and I honestly think these guys will fall slower than this one will, but it all depends.
I mean, realistically, a teardrop does fall pretty quickly.
Okay, so you guys seen the two new Wolfinkees. Like I was saying, one's the pink eye glow, the other one's the lemonade glow. Obviously, you guys know that I'm going with like a glow kind of pattern here. Most of my jigs glow. Whether that honestly helps or not, I cannot put a guarantee on, because I did do this one time a couple of years back. I was fishing all night long for crappie. I had a glow jig. These, actually, I'll show you. You guys will get a kick out of this if you make your own stuff. But I had painted these. So this is just a demon jig or whatever. And, you know, it's got a green head with a glow body, or green glow with a glow body. It's like a white, like dingy white glow, whatever. So I painted these lines on there, so when the glow comes through, you only see the light parts. So underwater, this looks like a bug. It really does. It looks just like a bug swimming around down there. And you can see it was beat to crap, basically. I'm actually kind of impressed. This is this is nail polish. So this has been on there for like 6 years now. And I've got like 4 or 5 of these things now. But what happened that night was I only had 2 of them. I had 2 smaller ones, and I broke off. That was actually a 2-pound test story. That was, I think I had like a 15-inch crappie, one of my first big crappies, and it broke off on the bottom of the hole, and I was like, I should go home, I should just not fish my other one, and I should wait until I get new ones, and then come try this again. But I kept seeing them come in on my flasher, and I was like I'm just gonna drop it one more time, and if I hook up with another big one, I'm gonna play it nice, and I'm gonna take my time. And you guys all know what happens when you get a big fish on. You freak out, you try to get it up the hole as quickly as possible, try not to break off. I got its head up the hole, so like it came out of the hole, but I did that stupid thing where I thought I had heavier line, and I went to swing it. It actually broke. My rod hit the ceiling. It scared me. I looked down, the fish was flopping around on the water. I went to stick my arm down the hole, and the fish turned around my hand and swam down with my jig attached to his face. So that's why I don't use 2-pound test anymore. And that's why I have like 6 or 7 of these painted up, because this is all that was working that winter. I've tried these a few different winters after that, and the funny thing is they don't, I can't get anything to bite on them, and I don't know what I was doing. I try to remember, but obviously this is a classic jig. This is, I mean, 60, 70 years old. I'm sure this is a very, very old style of jig. I'm sure it still works, and I'm sure my paint job still probably brings in fish. So if you guys ever want to try these, let me know, and I'll try to figure out where we can get some of them if I can. But I digress. The whole point I'm trying to make here is this winter, I want to get it to the point where when I'm fishing, if I'm talking about a jig or, you know, a bait or lure that I'm using, you guys are getting the like live direct action. The only reason I'm doing anything in my room right now is because, one, it just snowed a whole ton and then it melted. So one, I'm hoping the water temps just plummeted because of that. I'm going to be checking those soon. And then 2, I actually have a couple people that were telling me that there's ice being made somewhere up north. I'm not going to say where, because I don't need 1 million people flocking to that place. But he was giving me about, he said in like a week or so, I have a good possibility of walking on first ice. Well, if that's true, I have a ton of stuff to get ready. So if you can understand, this stuff all right here, those right there, everything needs to be ready still. And I have so much stuff to go through, and this happens every year. You'd think I would learn. So if you're not new here, you know what's up. If you are new here, please just remember to